where a lawyer was handling some criminal matters. Now, in course of time, he was made Attorney General of the state. He quickly entered knowledge. So, as soon as he did that, he was challenged. It doesn't mean that the power cannot be challenged. The power given to the Attorney General is what? It's discretionary. And we know the rules guiding discretion, exercise of discretion. What is the rule? The rule is that it must be exercised judicially and judiciously. Judicially simply means according to the rules of law. Judiciously means what? According to the dictates of what? Conscience and equity, or equity and good conscience. You understand? So if any Attorney General thinks that he has a power that cannot be challenged, he is sleeping. There's nothing like that. Why? Because if there's a case of abuse, his power can be done what? Can be challenged. His power can be challenged. For instance, if an Attorney General institutes a criminal proceeding, and then it is discovered that the idea behind this institution of the criminal proceeding is to overreach the other party. Maybe if somebody he had issues with, and now he has become an Attorney General, he wants to show him pepper. You understand? Would the law keep quiet? So there's no way you can. You simply say that he has done what? He has abused his office, and he has fettered what? His discretion. So these powers we are saying, it's not like it's absolute. It cannot be challenged. No. But then we also need to point out the dangers of such powers like this said. The danger is that it is prone to abuse, especially when you give such power to someone with power wrong, somebody who does not have the conscience to manage the power. There is every tendency that the person will do what? Abuse the power. And then to check over and continue any such criminal proceedings. And at times, you also want to find out what will be the reason for Attorney General to take over proceedings, criminal proceedings. And by the way, being the chief law officer, who is he taking over from?
Maybe the police.
Possibly the police, because most of the time it's the police. Or maybe somebody was already doing the matter with a fiat before he came on board. And when he came on board, he said, no, I'm taking it over again. And now you discover that it's an office that is too busy. Right. The only matter I have seen them take over most of the times is like maybe for those ones when they see is already at the Supreme Court level and they want to gather their Supreme Court judgment for application for SAM. That's when you see them taking over. Because these powers given to the Attorney General here, if the powers to better the society, it's not for him to act in the interest of the society. He can also delegate. He can delegate these powers to officers in his ministry, or he can issue fiat. That's why a good number of times the Attorney General needs to know the profile of the lawyer who has applied to be issued with fiat. So if he feels he's a lawyer that is not serious, he will say, okay, I have competent hand in my ministry. He can assign the file to somebody from the table, take it over from the place. But if he gives you the fiat, as soon as you get the fiat, the next thing you do is to do what? Inform the court if the matter comes before you have received the file. And then you pursue the recovery of the file assiduously so that you can get the ministry. Normally it's the ministry that will call the police and ask the police to bring back the file. The police will now submit the file to the ministry. Then the DPP will invite the person in whose favor fiat has been given and do what? Transfer the file to him and then give him a copy of the fiat. Now, in a fiat, the fiat may give him the power to amend the charges or the counts of the charge. It may also restrain the person with the fiat from adding to the charge. You understand? Because the investigation had already been concluded. and a charge preferred. So if you go outside the existing count to add your own count, you may not have evidence in the file to cover it. So that is why it is also important that the person who is prosecuting with fiat will regularly do what? Update the Attorney General as to the progress of his prosecution of the matter. Then again, too, even the person applying for a fiat should also be screened so that the application is not made malified. It's not making the application in bad faith. Do you understand? Because somebody will just want to say, let me take this let me get this fiat and see how I can deal with such a process. The essence of getting the fiat is to help the state to ensure that the matter is prosecuted to its logical conclusion. And like you need to know, prosecution does not mean that you must win. You understand? It simply means bring everything to the best perspective. If this person did not commit any crime, let it also be ensured that they will be given fair trial at the end of the day. So that it's not like maybe you take the fiat, you try to cut some bills with the magistrate or whoever is presiding over the matter to ensure that someone is punished. It doesn't operate that way. Any questions? They have an appeal. Well, the issue of lolling actually is not limited. When you look at the constitutional provision, you apply the literal interpretation because it's been an issue too. Why? Because appeal is the same thing as what? It's the same process as the trial. It's a continuation of the trial. So the Attorney General can at any point in time, even on appeal, do what? Enter a knowledge. I said, no, we have looked at the truth of this, so we don't want to go again. Any other questions?
Yes, sir. Just a few days ago, some minors were arraigned.
Okay.
Yes. Based on they were arrested during the animal governance protest. They were arraigned and alleged to have committed treason. Now, the narrative is that the AG wants to discontinue the matter. And I want to ask, can these minors or their legal representatives institute a matter based on this illegal arrest and detention?
Whether they can
Institute a process
for the enforcement of the fundamental rights. Well, of course, I wish you can read the opinion of Professor Chidi Odekano.
Can the Attorney General be sued?
Does he have immunity? Does the Constitution give immunity to the Attorney General? No. He doesn't have any immunity. Any further questions? All right, have a nice day.